Crypto budget came with a crypto tax. It's been a mixed bag of sorts. And let me first welcome Subhash Chandra Garg with us. Hello and welcome, sir, back with us on Coffee and Crypto. We've been speaking about this through the week, through months now, trying to understand what exactly is the budget going to be all about. And now it appears that it's a mixed bag, right? There is a huge tax that one has to pay. But ultimately, there is finally a definition of sorts, at least under the tax ambit. What did you make of it?
So this is good in the sense that it brings clarity about the taxation for both the investors as well as the taxation authorities. By the way, crypto assets-based incomes was taxable even before.
Yes.
And some investors were paying taxes, some were not paying. Some tax authorities were levying taxes, assessing it, some were not. So this now brings clarity. So that's, I think, most positive aspect about it. But 30% tax on a financial assets transfer is way above anything else. Any other equity or bond asset is not treated like this. And the bigger one to my mind, that 1% TDS only on the resident buyers is going to create big procedural problems. There are also some other issues connected with the retrospective taxations. How do you treat the income before 2022? So I think on the whole, good move, which can also be addressed in times to come, the hardships thereof. But at this moment, this is, to my mind, going to scupper the party for the crypto enthusiasts and the investors.
So party over, as many are saying, for the crypto community. I like how you said that this is a good move, but there needs to be some changes that need to be brought in. Let me start by firstly this. You know, a blanket 30% on all virtual digital assets. Perhaps also an indication by the government to discourage people or small investors to remain in the market. Perhaps saying that only those who have a huge risk appetite should stay back in the system, and then basically saying plain volumes and then pay back your taxes.
No, very clearly the government wanted to tax at the highest possible rate. And the details are there in the finance bill. It's not on, it's very clearly mentioned when you look at the definition of the crypto assets which is there. And it's not only the crypto assets created on the blockchain cryptography technology, but it also says others, which will create a lot of problems in times to come when the government and the authorities try to define what is digital asset. Right. So I am quite convinced that this is a very high rate, and this will create problems. But what it does, I think, bring to the table is that now the people can engage with the government, saying that this is harsh, this is very high, you can't treat this equal to gambling, you can't treat this like completely speculative, you can't take a view that this is to be used as a measure of discouragement, as a measure of practical ban, rather than legitimizing or treating this as a legitimate business, which it is so far.
Right. But I just want to ask this. Do you see this as a discouragement? I mean, putting crypto in the same bucket as
the underlying
gambling
is clear that this is a discouragement. We don't want you. The Economic Affairs Secretary yesterday in the press conference also said, the Revenue Secretary, that if the government were to ever ban it, we will withdraw the provisions relating to the crypto taxation. So the underlying assumption and the view of the government is that this is something not very desirable. But since we have to levy some tax because a lot of income is getting generated, why not start with the highest possible taxation?
Right. My own understanding was that the government clearly understands that you cannot do away with crypto at the moment. So, and there is no ban which will help either, because then it will start to sort of get in the dark web zone as well. So this is what they've come up with, to put in a very, very heavy tax so that they ensure that people with smaller funds at the moment stay out of the business. That's at least the reading that we picked up. But just want to get your sense on how do you think markets, people are going to sort of respond to this. There are two ways to look at it. One, to say, well, finally it is taxable. I will not be in the grey zone anymore. I pay my taxes and I am clear. The other saying, well, what is the point of putting in money? It's crypto. We went there to make high returns. And if it's going to be taxed at more than 30% now, what it seems to be, what's the point?
Yes, my sense is that while there would be some interest in the people who are only interested in dealing with something which is considered completely legal, legitimate or something, such people might think of coming in. But for the large community, let's remember, anybody who invests in crypto assets has been investing it only for making gains and profits. Now, if that profit is taken away, that punch ball is taken away, then the interest about this asset will definitely reduce and people will start looking at the other investment options. So my sense is very clear that in the short run, at least, this is going to discourage. A lot of people might actually withdraw. They might try to get out, and this will create the lot of problems and discouragement for the.
Well, we wait to see actually what comes out of this finally, or will the fence sitters finally enter, or the money that was going in private wallets, will that enter through exchanges now where there's the TDS, etc. That we remain to see. But I have to also ask you about the other big headline from budget, which is CBDC. Digital rupee will happen this year itself, right? And we understand that RBI has had a bit of a heartburn over this issue as well. It is not really ready just yet, but the finance minister quite confident it's going to be rolled out. Could you share with us some details on what form it will be? How will it be used finally? Who gets to operate the blockchain? Some technicality is there?
So the government has taken the most easy option for the digital currency by amending the RBI Act and treating the digital currency as equivalent to banknotes. Now that's a very easy but way to go, but perhaps does not convey anything regarding the form and the type and the design and to whom it is meant for, anything of that sort. And the government is going to rely entirely on the RBI. There are major issues connected with the retail CBDC or retail digital currencies.
Or the wholesale one.
For wholesale, we literally don't need that much, because the wholesale payment system which works on the digital payment systems today are perfectly fine. So I think we'll have to watch what the RBI comes up with in terms of its design, for whom it is meant, account based, through the banks, and so many complex issues are there. My own assessment is that it's not going to come soon. It will take a lot of time. And it would be good if the RBI begins with some experimentations. There are also technological issues. Using blockchain and cryptography technology for a digital currency is a most challenging thing for the retail users, at least. And that system does not work with the central bank. A decentralized currency management by a centralized organization is completely contradictory. So I don't think those things will work. So a lot of thinking has to go into before any prototype of the digital currency even comes through.
All right, a lot of work to be done on that front. For the moment, thank you so much, sir, for joining us on the program and giving us your perspective.